Hello everyone, my name is SmoLCatzZ and welcome back to Fishterviews, the video podcast where we interview Minecraft content creators while fishing in Minecraft. We talk about life, Minecraft, creating content, and oftentimes we ask very silly questions like, how big of a spider is too big of a spider? Today we're with the one, the wonderful, the OrigamiTiger. Let's get started. Well, Origami, welcome into Fishterviews. Are you excited?
Very.
Well, would you
Extremely.
extremely. You love to hear it. So, we're gonna talk about all kinds of things today. I have a bunch of questions for you, but would you start off with introducing yourself?
I'm OrigamiTiger. I'm a Minecraft Twitch streamer from Australia.
Awesome. How does it feel to be upside down all of the time?
Um, it's very good for your hair
I can
because all the
imagine
blood
that.
rushes to your head.
It's like a free blowout all the time.
It is. It's very
Sorry.
good if you have a mohawk.
It saves you so much money on hair gel.
hmm That's why my mohawk stands up straight.
I love that. I'm sorry, I had to ask. As
That's
soon as I
fine.
thought of that, I was like, I have to ask that question. It's so bad.
It's fine. My husband's WhatsApp status message is living in the upside down, so it's fine.
I that's great. That's actually great. Although to be fair, like you could ask me the same question because to
Mm,
you, I'm upside down. So
absolutely. It just shows you that gravity works, is really what it does.
it's a miracle of science. You mostly play Minecraft. How did
Yep.
you get into playing Minecraft?
Oh, see, I've been playing Minecraft for over a decade, which may surprise some people, considering how badly I play.
I wouldn't say that you play badly. I would say
I'm
that you
just a
suffer
bit,
from the same affliction that Rubik's does, which is frequent Minecraft death syndrome, which is different than
yes,
being bad at the game.
yes, yes. It's certainly something that happens quite a bit. Um, so the way what happened is I was living in the UK. And I have two nephews uh, from my brother. If that was a bit awkwardly phrased, I have two nibblings
Hmm.
that my brother that.
I'm leaving
I have
that in
two
the edit.
nibblings. So yeah, I've been playing Minecraft for about just over a decade, and I got into it because I was living in the UK. I had two young nephews in Australia, and my brother worked really hard at trying to maintain a relationship with me and them, even though I lived overseas. And and that was hard considering that one of them was born while I was overseas. So they got into Minecraft, and he decided it was something that I would like. So he bought me a Minecraft account, and I first started playing with them. Um, we would get on all together and we would play, and then I'd fill their builds with whatever. I think it was possibly chickens at that time because it was fairly early days,
Hmm.
and it was great. And I continued. I had a bit of a break after when I got pregnant with Squeaky, and then I've been consistently playing since then,
Hey, so
and I love it.
you've basically been playing probably not long after Alpha then, right? Do you know what version you started on?
I did work it out that it was 1.2 ish,
1.2.
I
Wow,
think.
okay.
Ish, because we're talking 2013, and I think that's 1.2. And then I stopped for a while and then really came back with the aquatic update.
It seems like a lot of people got back into Minecraft with the aquatic update.
Well, I think it changed things a lot
Hmm.
because, to be honest, the ocean was pretty boring before then.
Yeah. Well, it was just water, right? Really, there was nothing in it.
Water and a lot of gravel.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
not what I would call a good time.
No, no. It was, yeah, yeah. And like nothing to sort of get water out if you want to do underwater bases and that sort of shenanigans.
Hmm. Oh gosh, I can't even imagine what it would be like having to mass remove water previous to sponges. It would just be a nightmare.
Yeah, I don't think it was anything I ever really sort of decided uh to do, and because the boys, sorry, segue, because the boys sort of stopped playing because they grew up apparently. I got into SMPs at that point, so that's sort of how that all started.
So, what about the game of Minecraft really captured your attention or made it something that you wanted to play long term?
I think because it changes quite significantly, and it's what you make of it, if that makes sense. So you can play it like, yeah, you can speed run it and go for the dragon, or you can build, or you can make complicated redstone stuff. There's so many options and so many people play it so differently. I like the building aspect, and I think sort of that's my favorite thing to do. Um, and because it's changeable and that, it sort of feeds my ADHD as well.
I've found that to be a very common thing that people who identify as having some level of neurodivergence really like Minecraft or find it extremely satisfying. And I don't know what the correlation is there because I'm in that same boat, but it's a thing.
I suspect it depends what flavour of neurospicy you are. I think neurospiciness lends itself to Minecraft. I would not be surprised if the person who invented Minecraft, I'm not going to name, is probably neurospicy themselves. So yeah, and that, if that's why it appeals to so many, like it appeals to ASD because there's a lot of not routine, but there's, if you know all the stuff, you can memorize stuff and it works really well. Same with Redstone. With ADHD, it changes all the time. So, get an update every 12, 18 months to learn.
Yeah, I'm really with you on that. Like, especially the game progression, it being something every single game you load into, no matter how the world looks, like there's a game progression that like you know and you can follow. Something about that I think is very appealing to
Yeah.
neurospicy peeps.
And if you don't like that, well, then you don't have to follow the game progression, do creative and, you know, use it as virtual Lego.
Exactly, you can
And
just build cool stuff. If you could add a feature to Minecraft, what would it be?
I really want to see sort of I'm a builder, so I build a lot. So I really want to see stuff like, if it's a stone block, they all do the same thing. They all do stairs, they all do walls. Half slabs would be great. But yeah, if they did, stairs, walls, slabs for everything much. Let's not just include some things and not include others. I'd like to see concrete do the same thing. Concrete and terracotta. Just make the stairs, walls, that sort of stuff.
I do agree
And
with
more
you. I
glues.
wish other blocks had that consistency. Like it really frustrates me when something has a stair but like not a slab, like not a wall. It's like why?
Mm.
Why doesn't it's all a stone? Like
And and why does polished granite not do all the same things that granite does?
mhm.
Right? Is it does that? Oh, and diorite and polished andesite. The polished versions don't do all the same thing the stone versions do, and that's irritating.
Yeah. No, I that's a thing that definitely really bugs me when I'm like I just wish I had this in a wall. Like
Mm, absolutely. Like, okay, I get that wool may not be something to turn into a stair, but why can't we make concrete terracotta into stairs?
would you prefer stairs from those blocks or slabs if you only had to get one?
That's mean.
I know. It's my
Um,
job.
stairs. I tend to use stairs a lot more, especially with roofs and stuff.
Gotcha. You do make very colorful roofs on buildings. So that, from what I know of your building, that makes a lot of sense.
But that's my border world, candle world building.
Yeah,
It's
you're
different.
I'm actually
Yeah.
turning my camera. Your build is right over there and very colorful.
I find with border world and candle world, I let I did candle world before border world, and because it's a short build, I go for gold. I don't give a stuff. Sorry, I don't. I don't. It's not that I don't give a stuff. I I don't plan any of the builds. I just wing them. Like I knew this time round, I wanted to make sure this community farms for pumpkins and melons and wool up really quickly. That's what I aimed for. And then I decided to cover them up and I just used what I had. And on Candle World, I decided that I wanted my build to look like cake and then decided to make the hardest roof on the planet too. So, yeah.
Can you talk about
Horrible.
that roof a little bit? Because A, it was really, really cool and it looks beautiful. But it was also genuinely hysterical watching your frustration while building it.
So I decided, in my infinite wisdom, it wasn't very wise at all, that I would do a coral roof because I'd done the walls and everything. I'd used purple and I'd used cherry wood. I can't remember what else I'd used, but there was a lot of pastel-y stuff in it, and I didn't want a cherry roof, but I wanted something that blended with the purple and cherry. And I think there might have been some prism. I can't remember. And it was looking like a giant cupcake. So I thought, well, let's do frosting. What can I use? And then I thought, and I'd done a build previously using coral, but what I'd done is made like a donut and used pink coral as the icing slash frosting on the donut, and it then made it into a aquarium. And I thought I could do that to the I could do I could do magenta and I could do red and I could off I go, and there's a big coral space that I could get coral. Then I started doing it. Well, I had to work out how to do it first. So I think my first step was I made it out of dirt, and then I filled the dirt with water. But then, of course, the water kept every time I swapped out a dirt block for a coral block, the dirt, the the water would wash away stuff, and I have to deal with lag. So there was water washing away, and I wasn't always necessarily quick enough to deal with it all, and that meant that it used to get a bit spicy because mobs would come out and line up, and there was a number of issues inside the build where it just got a bit dangerous in an unintentional mob farm.
Yeah. That build was so beautiful though.
It was very very different from anything I'd done, and I find it really interesting that you guys sort of associate that build with me, where it was very different. I'm not girly, so it was very different from anything that I'd done before.
Yeah, that's a good point because well, I only met you through Candleworld, the precursor to Border World. So I've only seen you doing these very colorful, very kind of different builds because I've really only seen you building on Candleworld and now Border World and a little bit on Gasp, but just because time zones,
Mm.
I don't get to hang out that often. So it's funny because I associate you with those very bright, colorful builds, but as you're
Mm.
saying, those are kind of you branching out a little bit.
So I'm on a number of SMPs at the moment, and I've got a number of different build styles going on each one. I tend to pick a style every time I'm on it, for every new SMP that I'm on. So this one really didn't have a style. It's just Chaos Gremlin, really, and something interesting to go over the top. Witch Doll Meath and myself are pairing up for this season, and we're being Chaos Pixie, hence the skin, uh, the ears, and the little mushroom cap.
I love
Um,
that.
so that's where I was going with it, was to make it sort of fairy like, even though it was a over the top of farm.
That's awesome. I love to see that you guys are like, what if we teamed up and we're just menaces?
But we're meant to be nice menaces, so that's why Shro got a whole bunch of diamonds from me.
I think
I
I
think I
missed
paid.
that.
Well, Shro's doing his diamond hoe falling from his um, beanstalk, and I wanted a geode for the calcite, and he pointed me in the direction of the geode, and it was in a mine shaft, and I knew that he was for diamonds, so I paid for uh, a stack of torches with a stack and a half of diamonds.
That feels like a fair trade.
I thought it was fair, and that's part of the chaos. He did say that was way too much. I said, I don't care. He said, I finished my hoe, and I went, well, that does make sense.
That's amazing. So, Ori, how did you get into? We now know how you got into Minecraft, but how did you get into streaming on Twitch and therefore streaming Minecraft?
I think, like many people, the pandemic has a lot to answer.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up in a job at the start of the pandemic. I was in a job I didn't like. I had to go back to it. I didn't cope well with being working from home. I had no idea why I wasn't coping, and I got furloughed for various reasons. And I had a long, hard think about why I wasn't coping, and it turns out that the reason I wasn't coping I had undiagnosed ADHD. And apparently, when you have undiagnosed ADHD, working from home, old, and your husband working from home means that it becomes very difficult to cope with. But I started streaming just as a way to get some time to myself, but also some social time. I'm a real social person, really social person, and I was having no social interaction at all. And I was on this. I decided to pay for an SMP, and that was False Symmetry Symmetria SMP, Patreon's SMP, and they have a stream weekend. The ADHD fired in, and when they started saying, anybody want to do the stream week, I thought, why not? So that's what I did. That's how I started streaming. So I literally said, oh, join in on the stream weekend. Yes, of course, the stream. Not a clue. And started from there.
Did you then have to go through like a very swift like, oh, this is how streaming works curve? Because I know when I started, I also went through that same thing.
Well, I'd started thinking that maybe I could just do content creation. I had an idea for a series for YouTube. I'd been watching a lot of Hermitcraft, and I thought I felt that there was a need out there for parents to have various things of Minecraft explained to them, so that they understand what their children were talking about. And that never really got off the ground. I think I've done one episode of a play along, and then I just lost focus on it. And streaming was much easier. And because I'd already started the recording bit, then being able to stream made it much easier. But I will never forget the first stream, because the first stream I had no sound, no microphone sound. The setup was for recording, not streaming.
Oh
So yeah,
no.
that was fun. OBS is a OBS is a lovely piece of kit. A real pain in the butt sometimes.
It truly is. I looking back at like I have a few of my old vlogs, listening to those and listening to them now, I'm just it like I cringe at the settings I had going and like the sound and all of the things I had not
Mm.
wrong but like not right. I'm just like, oh man, I wish I had known any of this sooner.
Like I started with no face cam, and then moved on to face cam, and I decided face cam because I realised that there weren't a lot of women don't use face cam, which is fair.
Hmm.
And then I thought, well, look, I think it's important for people to realise that there's, as we've discovered, there's older people playing Minecraft. And I am in the older end Minecraft streamers. And I thought, well, what have I got to lose? So I get a bit of when I look at the old stuff, and I am sitting in bedroom in London.
Hmm.
My big, my double bed in the background. Sometimes with cat.
Sometimes with a cat.
Yeah,
I love seeing people's pets on stream because I'm just like, nice, excellent. That's like the cherry on top of the ice cream is someone's pet shows up on stream.
I have two cats, but they're still in the UK at the moment.
Hmm.
Will appreciate what sort of cats I have. I have two black cats.
Black cat team. I love
Mhm.
it.
Their names are Waltham and Whitby.
Those are adorable names. I like when people give their cats very unusual names. Like I don't know what it is. I feel like it's so common to just, cats like especially black cats, a lot of them end up with the same names. Like I've heard of like 70 black cats named Toothless. You know what I mean? So when I hear
Yeah.
them have very unusual names or very different names, I'm like, "Yes. It's all coming together. It's perfect."
Well, they're named after places that in the UK that my husband named them that we have affinity with. Whitby is a little fish town in a biannual Gothic festival,
Hmm.
and we were living in Walthamstow at the time. Call it Walthamstow, so that's who it ended up being.
You're a parent and a creator. How are you, or how do you balance parenthood with real life and having a job and also streaming?
You know what? That's one of the hardest with it all, and it's probably one of the reasons why I know that I'm definitely a slow burn. Build an audience base, etc., etc. So I only stream 3 times a week. I do have a schedule, but it is sometimes a little hard to maintain. I'm very lucky that I have a really good partner. So my husband, Tuesday and Thursday nights, does put down, um, usually squeak bed by the time I start, but that's always the case. So, sometimes you'll see me early in a stream. Sometimes my husband will come and give me a thumbs up because they're asleep. And yeah, it's the way it works. I'm very lucky. Sunday mornings can be a bit more chaotic. We get a visitor in. But I do find juggling it with time work and that I don't get to do a lot of the social media bits and pieces that lots of people do, uploading because I just don't have the brain power. And so it's important I put Squeaky first. They're very important to me, so I put first.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean,
So I
absolutely.
don't yeah, I just prioritize work. Squeaky comes first, then work, then streaming. So I will drop a stream if I have to. Like I dropped streams last weekend to do a sleepover, Squeaky Melbourne, and so yeah, just have to go with whatever works.
Yeah, no, that makes 100% sense. Family comes first always.
Like it would be easier. Like I am a little jealous of people who don't work
Hmm.
and have kids and then that would be easier for me to work around it. But yeah,
Hmm.
I gotta pay the bills.
Yeah, it. You can't stream if you can't keep the lights on. So,
No, and I attempted that early in the pandemic, and I'm a bit niche, so yeah, I
hmm,
just decided that I'll just it's a good hobby.
yes. So many people would love for streaming and content creation to be their jobs, and it's unbelievably difficult to make that happen in reality.
Mm,
I mean, it's like hitting the lottery almost, with more effort involved.
more effort, and I nowhere near as stable as working full time, even
No.
though I work in administration.
Well, and that's it. That's really the crux of it. You know, if you have a 9 to 5 job, you know that either once a month or twice a month or once a week or whatever your pay schedule is, that you will get paid, right? But streaming, if the economy takes a dip, if whatever happens, it's your income can just fluctuate so easily, that it's really hard to rely on because it's not consistent.
Mm, exactly. I'm just really thankful. I've got I I never thought that I would get consistent subscribers, and I now do, and it blows my mind. Subscribing me for 12, 18, 2 years, 18 months, 2 years. It blows my mind that little old me keeps enough that they keep.
Hmm. It's so satisfying when you realize that there is a community of people who enjoy hanging out in your streams and who are there often. It's I don't know how to like best describe it, but it's such a satisfying feeling.
Absolutely. Like on Sunday, when I canceled the stream, I somebody had obviously missed it, and it was actually really nice to see on Discord. Oh, are we not streaming this morning? Oh, no, we're
Aw.
not. But it's so nice that that you thought I was going to be there and I wasn't there, and you glowy feeling.
Hmm. So speaking of community, the border world has an awesome community of people. And I'm
Yes.
curious, how did you originally meet Rubik's and end up therefore on Candle World and now Border World?
Now this is really weird. This one links into being a really odd one. Now, Rubik's and I have had a conversation about this, and we both agree that it was probably a raid. Now, whether I raided in or the streamer raided me, and we think it's Boz. So, Boz, who is a British streamer,
Yeah, from the
and
8-bit group.
yeah, so I either raided into Boz or Boz raided into me at the time, because I was in London and we were streaming roughly about the same time-ish. And Rubik's followed me then, but Rubik's being Rubik's never mentioned that they were a streamer. I had not a clue. And I have a gentle rule about no self-promotion in stream. I just ask that you don't to a stream and say, come and follow me, but I don't mind people about the fact that it's stream. So I had no idea until this came and invited me to Candleworld. And Rubik's was looking for people in different time zones and knew that I'd moved back to Australia. That was one of the reasons she was looking for somebody to fill in, well, not fill in, but in a different time zone. And
Hmm.
she didn't know many Aussies, so I was one of the Aussies.
That's so fun though. It's just, oh, this person happened to raid another person, and it
Mm.
goes from there.
Yeah, and that's what the networking is like on Twitch. You've got
Hmm.
and I know that Rubik's has been following me for a long time, but I had not a clue that they streamed. So it was, yeah. Came one day and said, "By the way, would you like?" And I went, "What?"
It's the most Rubik's story I've ever heard.
And look, I adore Rubik's now that I've watched their streams, and that it's just, yeah,
Hmm.
great, great fun and chaos.
Absolutely. I was working today, but also in Rubik's chat and just cackling at some nonsense that was going on, and like also very badly not focusing on work because it was just very entertaining. And every time I'm in there, I'm having a great time because it's just something silly is happening, you know?
Mm, just, yeah, chaos on a stick, gremlin monkey. It's great.
So for Border World, just like Candle World, Border World's going to go away eventually. How do you feel about that whole concept? Is it a thing of you're like, whatever, it's gone, or are you one of the people who are like, I have to make the most of every moment because it's not going to be here forever?
So when I read the concept, I went, okay, I know what I'm going to commit to it. I'm going to commit for the 2 months that this will be my what I do for the months. I will put my other SMP on the back burner, and I will just play on Border World. But I also take it as a time just to let my brain whatever it wants. Hence why I've done the build I've done, 2 builds I've done, and really sort of given myself a push, because even if they turn out badly, I've learnt stuff. Like I've learnt that I really don't like domes on a roof that I haven't planned properly. Um, you just can go from there. You can. That's the good bit about the fact that it's going to disappear. And it means that, if I want to do another mushroom inspired stable, I've got a much better idea of what I want to do. And I also know if I've got squares in the build, I plan the roof a little bit more before I start it, and maybe light it up as I go, so as not to give loopy nervous breakdowns with.
Yeah. Poor Loopy. Yeah, I really love the concept of the disappearing world because for me, I get really, now that I am a content creator, and I don't know if you also experience this, but I get into this thing of like, I have to make something, like I have to have something to show for the time I spent on this SMP. Like I have to have a tangible thing. Um, but the fact that the server is going to be gone sort of removes that for me a little bit, which means I get to more focus on just enjoying the game and just doing whatever I want to. So I
Like
don't know
I,
if that's also something maybe that.
absolutely, like I've spent many hours here try and get the fastest horse and the biggest jumping horse that I can possibly get. And, you know, that's possibly something that I wouldn't normally do, but it just was fun to have an experiment and work out how it all works.
I'm curious, how difficult is it to get the fastest or best jumping horse?
Would you like to be welcome to my hyperfocus?
Yes, I would love to. Tell me your
So,
woes.
so the thing is you can only have one. You can only either be really fast or really jumpy. So the really so I think it's either 3.5 or 4 blocks is the highest they will jump. I think it's 4 blocks, the highest they will jump, but they will be slow. They'll be sort of around at least no more than about eight blocks per second. I think it's 14 blocks per second. The quickest it goes, but I've got a 13.5. Get up that high, they're rubbish at jumping, so they can barely do a block. So you've got to work around that. So it's good fun, but it does mean you end up breeding a lot. But because this server is always on, so to speak, everything's loaded in continuously, it does mean that you can breed horses. Go and watch an episode of Peaky Blinders and come back. Not that anybody was doing that. Go and her husband like thrown a head.
No, who would do that?
No idea.
No, nobody would do such a thing for sure. To be fair, I've done the exact same thing basically, but with breeding cats for a creeper farm. I just sat and watched TV, like Netflix, and bred cats every little bit, and then went back to watching TV until it was time to breed the cats again. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm also guilty of that. It's okay.
Yeah. I generally get a bit obsessed with cats on Minecraft as well. So.
Oh, I love Minecraft cats. I just love cats, as you're well aware, so.
Yeah, I'm very fond. Well, hence bringing mine over bringing cats from Australia is a royal expensive pain, but
If I know this correctly, and I know they're not the same country, so please don't think me a person who doesn't know about geography, but I have a very close friend who lives in New Zealand who, when they moved to New Zealand, couldn't bring a pet with them from the United States because they would have to spend months and months in quarantine. And I'm assuming it's something similar for Australia.
It is, but the UK is one of the countries where it's not quite as bad. So it's 6 weeks in quarantine.
Okay. That's
it
still
used
quite
to be
long.
3 months. Yeah, it
Oh,
used
wow.
to be 3 months, but it's now 6 weeks. And it's mainly because the main issue, I think, is rabies.
Mm-hmm.
So they sort of, because we're completely rabies free. UK is fairly rabies free, but not completely. So
Yeah.
it's not bringing rabies into.
Yeah, I
And
genuinely
that would be
can't
the same.
imagine a scarier animal than a giant, like those big kangaroos that like want to punch you in the face, but also it having rabies. Like, no, thank you. At least that's what I'm concerned about. Like,
Um, Look, yeah, they're not that scary. They're just big herbivores,
but
honestly.
but the thing is that listen, as someone who doesn't have kangaroos where they live, I've seen that video of like the guy squaring up against a kangaroo that was like attacking this man's dog, and he like gets into like a boxing match with it, and I'm just like, any animal that might punch me back, like I don't think I want to be near it, you know?
Well, that's how male kangaroos sort of assert dominance and fight for dominance of their mobs.
So
So
they punch each
they,
other.
yeah, so they sort of, so they've got really hard bellies. So they've got really thick skin on their abdomens, and they sort of lean back on their tails and kick each other, and then try and gouge their eyes. They're very
Jeez.
gentle animals.
Friendly,
Yeah,
yeah.
but to be honest, they don't tend to go anywhere near humans as a general rule anyway, because they've learnt through thousands and thousands of years of dealing with Indigenous Australians that no, so they tend not to go to.
Well, Ori, we are about coming up on our time. Thank you so much for joining me for this fish review. I hope you had a great time.
Absolutely might. Although my brain is now well and truly fished out.
That's fair. That's totally fair. We have been fishing for like an hour and 20 minutes, to be fair. So, we've fished a lot. So, after this interview, if anyone wants to find you out on the internet, where can they do that?
I have a Twitter, which I don't do much with. So I am Origami MCR on Twitter, formerly known as. I am OrigamiTiger on. Oh no, on YouTube. OrigamiTiger on OrigamiTiger Mining on Instagram, and Origami Mining on TikTok.
Awesome.
And yes, I'm on TikTok.
I've seen
Old
your
lady
TikTok.
on TikTok.
I mean, nothing wrong with it.
No, it's just generally shorts from.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I will put all your links in the description so everybody can find you. Because it is one of those things if it's hard to remember all the different handles.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for joining me for the fish review. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.